All right, so I understand you got a few hobbies though.
Yeah.
Now, one of the hobbies that you have is being a knight, like a literal knight in shining armor, like with a joust.
Yeah.
Princess Toadstool up in the castle.
Kind of like the Fight Clubs all over again.
Yeah, and you're Mario fighting the dragon. Or Luigi, whichever one you like, because you got the mustache. That's why.
Yeah,
Mario and Luigi. But anyway, so when did you actually decide to get into doing knighting, and how did that come about, bro?
So actually, it's a pretty good timeline of events. Obviously, I had to stop the Fight Club a little bit because I had injured myself. So then I started trying to find different things I could get into. So I started with bows and arrows. And then I switched on to throwing knives. I learned throwing knives. And then I started collecting swords. And I always thought of that guy, it's probably you, but that guy that's got a gun every nook and cranny of the house.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the sword guy. I'm the version of that with a sword.
Yeah.
And moving, one of the times I was moving around a little bit, I was literally stepping over swords because I just didn't have time to put them all away. And so I got into doing that because that was a way that I could physically test my limits without actually hurting myself. There are safety parameters in that. You do have to have gear for it. If you do HEMA, they have HEMA gear, HEMA certified gear, which is like the headgear, padding all over basically. But aside from that, what I do, I like to bring to the festivals an actual suit of armor.
Okay.
So I did some research. And I didn't want to be too historically accurate because it's Florida and wearing gambeson and all that shit and then a suit of armor over top of that would give me a stroke. So I learned that.
So you're saying you actually dress up like a knight and go to different places?
I'll show you some of the pictures. I'll send you some of the pictures.
Wow,
so maybe add them in the video or something.
That's what's up, man.
So it's actually a 70-pound suit of armor.
And question, how are you received being black? I'm
going to get to that.
Yeah.
So in the suit of armor that I'm in, I learned that back in the day, being a craftsman was a lot more popular back then.
Okay.
But they put on what they could afford. Not everybody had a suit of armor. Nobles, people that were to protect other nobles or the king or something like that. Those are the royalty. Those are the ones who were in suits of armor. So if you were like regular infantry or something like that, you would have gambeson. But some of them just they wore what they could afford.
Yeah.
So I went with the same thing. I was like, shit, it's modern day. I don't have to be historic. So I wear 6 different layers of my armor. I have padding. I have light cloth. Then I put on another layer of cloth over top of that one. Then I put on vestments. What are they called? I gotta remember the name of what it's called. But it's a vestment. It goes all the way down. It has the coat tails. Then I put on some leather. Then I put on some of the metal. And then over top of the metal, I put on my cape. So you'll see it in the picture. It's a pain in the ass to take care of because you have to polish the metal every time you go because there's a lot of dirt and there's a lot of rust. And so when you put on that suit, which answers your question, when you put on that armor, almost every bit of my skin is covered.
Yeah.
So no one even really knows that you're black out there. So you get this thing where when I go and I have friends that are already there, they call me and they're like, hey, yo, let's meet up over here. And when you walk there, everyone stops you. And when you're in some kind of get up, everyone dresses up.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to take pictures. It's a community. So I get stopped every 20 feet. And they're like, hey, can we take pictures? And I'll take the helmet off. And they don't treat me any different than not knowing that I was black. And
that's cool.
There's not a lot of black gentlemen out there.
Yeah.
But when there are, you see them and they just blend right in. Everybody gets it. It's a lot of Viking. I don't know if it's due to the Netflix show, but there's a lot of Viking influence out there. And so it's a lot of Nordic stuff and Norse. But there's a lot of knights and you do see there's some black people out there. And they just hang around. No one treats them any different, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. Everyone treats me as if I'm family. They're comfortable giving me their number so I can exchange pictures. You'll get a lot of numbers out there. And so it's a really good time. It's Comic-Con. When you go to Comic-Con, they say oh, everyone's family. everyone's comfortable with you taking pictures with them and all that.
Mhm.
It's just like that. Everyone's together. Everyone's there for the same thing.
That's awesome, man.
So I never felt any different, except I guess maybe during my competitions, just like that church.
Yeah.
Everyone just moving in slow motion.
So how do you incorporate the principles of knighthood into your daily life and training?
Oh man, I don't know if I was prepared for that question. That's a good question. So how do I apply the knight chivalry, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
So,
or whatever other principles of being a knight. Like,
I'm sure. Oh, man, that's a good question. I wish you had given me that before this interview, because I might actually be able to give you a really good answer later on. All right. So there's some good stuff here. Let me get my mind together. But the way that you learn the art of martial arts can be applied to life.
Okay.
So you have two sides of martial arts. You have the actual art, which often is taught in dojos, and they'll teach you about the spirituality and the art of whatever you're trying to learn. And then you have HEMA groups, which is historical European martial arts. So HEMA groups, they give you like a sword manual, and you just kind of study what the techniques are, and then you can spar. And what happens in HEMA groups is they don't really teach you what to do. You use what works.
Yeah.
And so some techniques get thrown out, and then other ones are like, this is working, let's do this. So they'll do class, and they'll do an open gym, and then so you'll go back and forth, and everyone exchanges what works. Now, how to apply this to your daily life?
So let me get this straight. You said HEMA as in like historically European martial arts. So Europe had a martial art?
That it refers to like sword fighting back in the day.
Okay, I'm tracking.
So like how they fought with sword, like a long sword techniques.
I got you.
Like Mordhau is one of them. The murder stroke is wielding the blade from the blade actually, and striking the helmet with the handle, the pommel.
Oh, okay.
And so it just teaches you basically what they did back in the day.
Okay, I got you. I'm tracking.
So where you were asked, how do you apply it to everyday life? So you can easily apply it to how you stand, your footwork, your general footwork, your general posture when sitting, when standing, when walking, how to talk to people, how to address to people, respect. Martial arts humbles you very quickly. And one of the gentlemen in my fight club actually has gone on to be a world champion. His name, I will say his business. I'm gonna actually shout out to him. Shameless shout out here, because I don't think he'll mind. But it's actually called Hamilton Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
And he was a part of my fight club, so he can tell you some of those stories. And I never fought him personally, but it's really cool to know that somebody went on to be a BJJ world champion.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And he's the one that first told me that that stuff humbles you in your everyday life. You just become very respectful, calm, and confident. So you can apply that to your everyday life. And if you want to be a little cheesy, a little cliche, chivalry. Open the door, lead the way, provide for your family, be respectful, stuff like that.